All right, that's most of Russia's 5th-gen fleet.
Yeah, shots fired.
Option.
Shots fired. It smelled like
no kidding.
The best like Kentucky Fried Chicken ever inside the cockpit, like instantly. I do think we should hold mass briefings in the hangars around the airplanes.
It looks cooler. A lot cooler.
Been here the whole time. You see me now?
Do you guys ever do any negative G stuff like that?
Yeah, we did. Inverted passes and things like that. I mean, you're -1 to 1.5 depending on how you're pushing to keep altitude. But one thing you don't see is you're hanging in the straps pretty hard just at -1 G. Mm-hmm. So to be like, hey, do you see me now, and kind of have a casual conversation. I mean, it's you're pretty concentrated.
Yep. Some vertical scissors. I mean, this is somewhat realistic. Like if you're doing pure vertical scissors, it's not quite that tight, but I mean, it is pretty cool to, when you're in a fight, just spiraling down like that.
Right. I mean, lift vector on lift vector in this rolling scissors, I think, looks realistic.
Yeah.
Now the talking back and forth. Is a little.
And then listening in the bar.
Yeah.
And then clearly going below the
3,000,
the floor here.
2,000.
Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah. But yeah, you're not going to use the actual ground as the floor.
Right.
There's no room for error there.
Right.
That's a kill. Knocked it off.
But I would say the dogfighting before is more realistic than this. Like people always think dogfighting through canyons, you're following somebody and they hit the brakes, fly right by. I'd say that the previous thing where they're in the vertical scissors is more realistic.
Agreed.
A steep climb at that speed, you're pulling at least 8 Gs.
9 minimum.
The stress limit of the F-18's airframe.
9 Gs, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's like a normal day.
Yeah.
But, and this is a clear difference with the F-18, 7.5 G airplane. It's like the Strike Eagle is a pretty, in a fighter comparison, a pretty low G airplane.
Yeah. I mean, that part is realistic, just
Absolutely.
seeing the world kind of shrink down like that.
Yeah, there were things I thought they got right.
Oh my God, he's in G-LOC.
Same thing, like if you lose enough blood, you'll pass out.
I'm going after him.
And I think, from what I've heard, it takes about 30 seconds to regain full control of situational awareness that you can recover, and it takes about the same time to crash at the speeds you're flying.
Have you ever had a G-LOC situation airborne?
No, have you?
It's extremely scary. It feels like an eternity when you're talking to somebody and they're not responding. So I think this was very a little too low to the ground. As we've been talking. Yeah, you're doing everything you can to get the person to come back. Using their first name, something that we hardly do. As a fighter pilot, you're like, is my mom or dad calling me? Like, never hearing that. So, and then you come in and debrief. Obviously declaring an emergency, chasing the person back. And then, of course, they're like, I can't believe this happened. A lot of times they don't even recall that they had the G-LOC situation.
Yeah. So somebody so you had a wingman doing this?
I had a student out.
So were they, was it high aspect or?
I think it was ACM ride.
And so you're just keeping the visual, and then all of a sudden their lift vector starts.
Yeah, I mean, you're fighting, and then all of a sudden it's like you just see them roll out, and they're not fighting anymore. And you go, okay, I know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing about high G, and I don't think we talked about this, is it's not really like a linear, scenario. I mean, it is, 8 Gs to 9 Gs, but the difference between like 1 G to 5 Gs is like kind of tolerable. 5 to 7 is pretty painful. 7 to 9 is like 10 times the first half of the curve.
Yep.
So, that real, 7, 8, 9 G arena is really, really hard on the body.
Yeah, it gets exponentially more difficult.
Yeah.
Hey folks, before we move on, today's video is sponsored by Incogni. So everything I make goes towards the production of these videos. More importantly than that though, it's 2023. We're all getting spam emails and phone calls. Even worse, if you're like me, you get letters in the mail letting you know that a company with your information has had a security breach. Just think of the Equifax breach from a few years ago. All this data is then compiled by data brokers and sold across the internet. Sometimes it results in just an inconvenience, like the never-ending phone calls and emails, but other times it's a lot more nefarious. Think scammers and hackers. Incogni automatically reaches out to these data brokers and legally forces them to remove your data. If you have credit cards, social media accounts, or part of any loyalty programs, you almost certainly have information out there. Often there are hundreds of these data brokers selling your information. Instead of having to contact them all individually to fight them on your own, Incogni automatically does that for you. Make sure to protect your information. The first 100 people to use the code HAZARDLEE will get 60% off Incogni. All right, back to the video.
Bird strike! Bird strike! Bird strike!
Yeah, that's definitely a thing, flying at low altitude.
Phoenix, left engine's on fire! Climbing! Throttling back.
Maybe a little slow on the climb,
Yeah,
reaction-wise,
Yeah.
but
Climb
I think
to cope.
for the move, this is temporal distortion, right? So
yeah.
when something happens, all of these things are happening at once, and your brain processes it in 3 seconds feels like 3 minutes, right?
Have you ever lost an engine?
I never lost an engine. I did have a couple bird strikes, and I had a. So the quick thing, we were doing a Diamond 360 over the water in the Chicago Air and Water Show, and felt the thump. But the thing that you hear people always say, "How do you know you hit a bird?" Smells like chicken. I mean, it smelled like
No kidding.
the best like Kentucky Fried Chicken ever inside the cockpit, like instantly. And so that's how I knew, immediately that I hit a bird.
This is a classic video right there.
Yeah.
Bombs away!
I mean, that's pretty realistic for going to the training range
Absolutely.
and then hitting a TOT precisely.
So 9.5 Gs. That's a normal.
9.5, yeah.
That's a normal BFM sortie
Safe,
for us in the
yeah.
Viper, right?
I mean, the bombs impacting is also pretty realistic for ones that don't have explosives in it.
Totally agree. Yeah, I love that scene. I do think we should hold mass briefings in the hangars around the airplanes. It's
It
much
looks
cooler.
a lot cooler, yeah.
And it would
We've
be
tried to
sweet.
shoot videos of people briefing, and it just doesn't come out well.
Here we go. Enemy territory up ahead.
All right, clearly a tactical formation.
Right. I don't think CAF pilots are allowed to fly in slot. I think that's like honestly.
Who would want to?
Who would want to? Totally agree.
Like, I don't
But,
even want my wingman within a mile of me. Like,
Right.
just go do your own thing. I mean, this part is actually very realistic.
Very.
Like having, JASMs, whatever,
Right.
cruise missiles coming in to saturate the IADs.
Now, one thing we're not talking about is res cell tactics. I mean, this is something you may want to do.
All right, back in the day.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, how many missions would you send in 4 F-18s and that's it?
True. Wouldn't they see the boat coming too? Because they can't get that far away from the boat without a tanker. But let's not really
Stealth
get into
boat.
it.
Fanboy, where's my laser? I'm sure there's something wrong with this laser.
I mean, that's pretty realistic. The targeting pod laser
Yes.
having issues.
Yeah, especially with that type of maneuvering. You know, getting wrapped up.
Yeah. Nine Gs.
Here we go. 994.
Here it comes.
Now, to me,
Smoke in the air, Phoenix, break right.
this is where it really gets Hollywood.
Everyone defend it.
Yeah, clearly flares aren't going to help there.
That's right. And the number of flares that they have, is pretty astonishing.
Yeah, it's like an action movie where they're just never changing clips.
That's right.
Yeah, all these SAM sites, they would have just shot them all down.
Absolutely. I mean, they're in such a predictable flight path in this, high G, then vertical scenario. Super predictable for those SAMs to have a good engagement.
Did you ever do the Block 50
Yes.
mission? Yeah. I mean, I think that's what was overlooked with this movie is finding a way to defeat the IADs and take out the SAM sites.
That's right.
Talk to me, Bob. We're going for
Yeah, maybe, trying to make it more about the pilot than about the technology was probably a key theme for writing
man,
it this
not the
way.
machine.
That's right.
I mean, this is what we spent most of our mission planning of finding ways to defeat the radars and the SAM sites, and so that they can't get a missile to shoot you down.
That's right.
But if you're in game like this, yeah, that's going to happen.
Right.
no.
All right, so this is Maverick's third ejection ever, at least.
Well, here they come.
All right, that's most of Russia's Fitch in fleet.
right? Yeah,
Third
shots
gen
fired.
option.
Shots fired.
Yeah, man, splash one, splash one.
Now, something that's never discussed is, fighter pilots, we do say everything twice. Say everything twice. Brake left, brake left.
Yeah.
Splitting the throttles.
Some split throttles.
Now that I do know is for real.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
Now, this is bringing some tactical deception in with ground clutter, which is decently effective.
I guess, maybe not with the Fitchin aircraft, but
Right.
definitely back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, they're incredibly low there.
Yeah, I guess if you're in that situation, might as well.
Yeah, you've
Some of that pilot is. Brace yourself.
got the rest of your life to figure this out. Mm-hmm. Now, we just went to idle, right? But then it was in full AB.
It was the hitting the brakes thing.
Oh, yeah.
It always
exactly.
works.
That's right.
I got towed. Taking a shot.
Well, I'm glad at least the enemy flares worked against their missiles too, just to be fair.
Yeah,
Switching to guns.
I'm glad that the missile even worked off that 14.
Right.
Smash, we're out of ammo. Smoke in the air. Rooster flares. That was close.
Little high aspect pass.
Yeah.
I mean, that part is pretty realistic.
Right. And going into the training rules thing, like in training, you're not going to have those high aspect passes, but in combat, I think you definitely do that.
This is not good.
Also, getting outrated like that's probably realistic.
Yeah.
But this part isn't, where you're just kind of slowly getting picked off with the guns. I think people
Right.
will be surprised that you only have like 3 to 5 seconds of gun. Like it
Right.
shoots all your bullets pretty much at once.
Well, the other thing too is, it's a cannon, so by definition, the projectile is exploding. It's not just it's not a hollow point or something like that. That's just going through metal.
Yeah,
And
high explosive incendiary rounds. It just
Right.
takes a few to take down an aircraft.
And then the other thing too is from a structural integrity thing. When you're going 400 or 500 knots like that, and you have 50 holes in your airplane, you're probably going to start breaking apart pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then after all that, hey, I'll see you on deck. I'm out of
Good
here.
luck.
Good luck. I guess the argument would be that he had to safely recover so that they can now crash the F-14.
Yeah,
onto
I
the
guess
deck.
it's going to close down the carrier. Had to do the pass.
Yes. There is a
Honestly,
part-
I would probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
If I was shot down, got another aircraft, shot, how many aircraft did he shoot down? Like,
Absolutely.
he's an ace now.
He knows he's not flying ever again.
This is it. Yeah.
It would have been great though if John Hamm's character had the cup of coffee just for Maverick to finally get one over on
That'd
the
be a good
3-star.
callback. I think that part might have been realistic.
Yeah.
All right, I hope you enjoyed Slick and I having some fun reacting to Top Gun Maverick. If you did, make sure to like the video, share it, and then let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Also, by the way, this video was filmed right before we went into the centrifuge and pulled 9Gs. So if you haven't seen that video yet, make sure to check it out. I also want to thank you for making my book. It just debuted a few weeks ago, a Wall Street Journal bestseller and the #2 best-selling business book in the country. I really appreciate that, so thank you. All right, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.